So I came to a very simple conclusion, and that is that laughter is a rebellious act. And I'll tell you what, couple things to keep in mind, right? This is a realization that came to me after repeated attacks on my being, on my very fiber of existence. And the first time it happened, I didn't think much of it, but now I'm like, man, it makes so much sense. I was in Hollywood with a buddy of mine, and there was this goofball that was in line to get into a bar, and he noticed that they were letting all the women in and all the dudes were kind of stuck in line. And I started laughing because I'm like, man, this whole spectacle, this thing is a tragedy, right? Like, you got all these dudes waiting to pay to get in, and the women just waltz in without even trying. And I start laughing, and I guess he hears me and he thinks I'm laughing at him. I'm laughing at the whole entire charade. And he thinks I'm laughing at him. He pulls out this massive knife, and he says, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, you got to be kidding me. You're about to kill another man for laughing, at your sorry existence. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, I can't believe that somebody would go to that degree, right? Someone would even go outside with that intent in mind. I'm about to kill somebody that's laughing at me. I never want somebody to laugh at me or make fun of me, and the frailty of the ego that comes with that, right? And I gotta admit, like, I was like, kind of like, dude, like, I want no parts of this. You can go ahead and try to stab me, but I'm gonna go ahead and walk away because it's just not worth it. Like, I'm on salary. You you are on hourly, right? Your spiritual existence is not that of mine, and I just have too much to live for, and clearly you don't. Because if you're willing to take a man's life for the simple act of laughing, then you have bigger problems than I could even begin to solve for you. The other instance was, like, I got this lesbian, right, with full of tattoos, telling me to shut up. Because why? Because I'm a man with an opinion and a penis. And it makes you wonder, like, obviously you're upset about that. Why wouldn't you be, man? I'm the most powerful being on this planet. Man, right? Generally speaking, me and everyone else, every other man on this planet, we're the most powerful beings on this earth. There's nothing that comes even close to the power that we have. And I don't mean that just physical brute force. I mean it in many different ways. Like, if I wasn't a man, I would want to be a man, naturally. And the thing is, too, this is the interesting part about laughter, is that the serious are the goofballs. They're the joke. And the jokers, the jesters, they're the serious ones. I tell you what, the people that take themselves way too serious don't get very far in life, right? Because they can't parcel out the minutia. They can't weed through the fog. They don't seem to be able to sift through life and understand the brevity of the moment. They seem to take everything serious, and then by default don't understand the joke that's being played on them, as opposed to the joker, the one that's laughing all the time. That's the whole concept of laughing all the way to the bank. Because if you realize the joke in the scenario, you can easily weave through all the muck. And it just makes it easier to kind of ingest what's happening and how to process a moment, good or bad. And I think that's the beauty of laughing through misfortune or misery. And for me, it became a weapon of choice because unfortunately, anybody that goes through difficult things in life, which is all of us, is you're either gonna cry or laugh about your misfortune or your misery. And so obviously, for me, it's the latter, right? Not the former. It's the latter, which is the second option, which is that I'd rather laugh at my misery rather than cry about it. Because at least at that point, I could have a creative outlet to sort of foment my disgruntledness. I could sort of have a creative outlet to sort of release my tension, my frustration. And so that became sort of a valve, mechanism of release for me. And so you should try it if you haven't done it. And you got to find the funny in everything. I think, like I said, my existence has hinged on that. That's allowed me to get through a lot of bad things, was just finding the funny in them. And so, whether I was about to get stabbed or told to shut up by a lesbian, like, These are just minor examples that happened most recently, but I've had many more that I can think of where people think you're laughing at them, and they don't realize, like, buddy, like, this isn't even about you. Like, you're not a main character in the story. I'm laughing at some random thing that it just clicked to me at the moment. It just so happened that you saw me, stared at me, and thought I was making fun of your outfit. When in reality, I'm in my own world. I'm not concerned with what you're doing. I'm working on fake businesses. I'm thinking of stories in my head. I'm concocting information. I'm connecting the dots. I'm putting together one and the other. I am doing far more with myself internally than I am worried about what you had for lunch, or why you can't get into the bar, or why you have trouble with me speaking my opinions. Because, this sort of like dissent has been marked and molded by cancel culture and the whole litany of things that come with that, right? Which is that what we're trying to restrict a type of speech, right? In this case, speech that could compel someone to laugh or make fun of someone or something. And who gets to draw that line is where the slippery slope lies. Because who's to say what I find funny is rude or obnoxious or disrespectful or hurtful or demeaning in any way? And that is kind of momentary, right? It's moment to moment. So I just refuse to allow that to sort of dictate what I find funny. And if it means that I get stabbed, then so be it. I think I would rather die laughing than to die crying. And I think that's a very simple decision for any one of you to make. So just think about that before you find yourself sort of commiserating with misery. Think to yourself, maybe I got to give laughter a chance before I decide to cry about my circumstances. Anyhow, I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next one.